I went live a minute early. All right, so I need to close out one thing because everything is going very, very, very low. Slow, low and slow. This is the tempo. All right. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's do a very, very fast weekend, Brian, before people get on here and start asking questions and wanting to know stuff. Painting wise, I actually have gotten a bunch of stuff done. I painted the last of my Palanites that I have put together, except for my vehicle. The vehicle is primed, ready to go. I painted a special addition to my Mech Warrior or my BattleTech Clan Ghost Bear Force that was going to see the field of battle this weekend, actually. I'm sure it's probably going to get smoked in like 2 seconds, but I wanted to at least give it a shot. I wanted to at least try, see how it does. And, maybe it'll just get the curse of the freshly painted model out of the way. Which, speaking of game superstitions, I generally don't do them. Like, I don't follow the rules about lucky dice on lucky dice. They're all just pieces of plastic. I don't think anybody can roll a spin down any better than a regular die and all that sort of stuff. But one thing I generally do, attest to is the first time a painted model hits the table, it always does terrible. I don't know. We have people saying hello already. Excellent. Hello, Blue Stripe. Hello, Scion. I almost called you Scion. And hello, Karak. How goes it, Brian? It goes well. I was just telling people that I did some painting this week. Personally, I went back to the gym and started to actually lift again, which means my biceps are killing me today. I probably overdid it, which was dumb. Everything else, things are going well together. So the contractor came out to fix the wall on the other side of the house. They're going to rip out a bunch of walls and put them back up, and it's a lot, and it's probably going to take a couple of weeks. During that time, I don't know the state of the show. I'm going to try and record. I don't know how noisy they're going to be on the other end of the house. I've got a good microphone set up. I've got a good directional mic. So we'll see. Hopefully. I mean, obviously 2 weeks from now, I'm going to take one day off to be at Gen Con, but yeah, we'll see. Hopefully I can still record and everything will be wonderful. Good luck with the contractors. Yes, they are. We met the guy who's actually like the team lead for the crew that's coming in to do all the work, and he seems like a really, really cool cat. In fact, he was ready to start work next Monday, but I still have to do some stuff with my insurance guys to get them to pay to board the dogs and all that rigmarole. But he seems like a really cool dude. Blue Stripe says, ooh, Gen Con, what are you most looking forward to? Well, Gen Con's hard for me, because I don't get to do a lot while I'm there. It's a lot of, meetings and working the booth and running events, and it's a lot of work. But I am definitely looking forward, getting to see my convention family. There are people that I only ever see at conventions that are closer to me than some of my blood relatives. And so that's always a wonderful aspect and a wonderful part of going to these shows. This particular show, I wrote a multi-table special event for our Everyday Heroes organized play system, basically kind of like a special thing that's outside of the normal seasons of the storyline, but is still part of the storyline. I'm really hoping that we sell enough tickets to it to get it to so let you a little industry secret. If when you set up events through a lot of conventions, Gen Con in particular, if you do not sell enough tickets to get the event to fire to go, it counts against you for future table space and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of times the event won't happen. Basically, it kind of auto cancels because it gives an opportunity for the people who are going to be turned away at the tables, basically, to go and get their money back for the thing and to go and do other events and continue to have a good time. I mean, like it's not a bad thing that there's a that there's that little kind of caveat of if you don't sell enough tickets, the event doesn't happen. But for something like a big multi-table event, where the cap of the number of people is like 50 people or 54 people, if we don't get at least 27 or whatever tickets, or people that come up with generic tickets at that time, it ends up being canceled. And so I'm worried that won't go, that it won't happen. But I am also very confident that if it does, it's going to be an amazing event. And honestly, if it doesn't happen, I have ways, there are other shows that are coming up that will be able to do it, and we'll be able to, maybe advertise a little better, all of that. But I'm hoping that people will play some ego events, some organized play events. I'm hoping that they will do so earlier in the convention on Thursday and Friday, and then go, man, I love this system. I love I love this cool setting you guys have created. What's up with this thing on Saturday? And then they'll show up and they'll press flesh and come roll dice with us. That's the big thing. I just want people to roll dice and have a good time. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing you and the other Warzone folks at Gen Con. Looking forward to see you too, Zach. It's like I said, I Gen Con is never a show that I get to do much socializing. Not really. I know I'm going to a couple of award ceremonies, so I'll get to do a little bit of, hey there, how you do's with people. But even then, those are, quiet affairs sitting around a table because you're there to celebrate the people that are getting awards. So yeah, it's just Gen Con's very crazy, very busy. It is not my most social of shows. I still, for anybody who is like, I want to be able to, get a chance to socialize with the creators, or hell, not even the creators, but me in particular, shows like Gamehole Con, Winter Fantasy up in Fort Wayne, Origins is a good one. I get to socialize a lot at that one. It's those shows are way better to actually get some face-to-face time with people. It really, really is. But Gen Con's still Gen Con. It's still amazing. It's crazy. It's huge. And this year I'm spending. So last year Gen Con, I'm getting ahead of myself. Last year Gen Con, I was running our off-site adventure room, like where we had all our game tables and stuff. Well, we don't have that this year. Our tables are all in one place, but we're not in our own little secluded room like last time. And our staff is different this year. We are not splitting forces. We're trying to keep our eggs in the same basket rather than spreading ourselves so thin. And then when something goes wrong, you've got 30 minutes to get to the other side of the hall to get there. So I'm going to spend every morning from like open of hall to like just after lunchtime in the booth, in the Evil Genius booth on the floor in the exhibitor hall. And then with the exception of Saturday, because Saturday I'm supposed to go run the multi-table event. I think every other day I've got I'll be at the booth as long as I can, but then I've got meetings and stuff in the afternoon. And then the Ennies Awards are Friday night, I think. And then on Thursday night and Saturday night, I've got Shadowrun live action streams. Or not live action, live play streams, sorry. That I get to play my iconic novel character again. I always love playing Hollywood. He's my... If there was a Shadowrun character, I have 2 Shadowrun characters that I have written and played and put into the universe, into canon, that I consider being me. Like they are different aspects of when I think of playing Shadowrun, I'm always in one of those two roles. And one is Hollywood, my elven gunslinger that I play on stream, and then the other one is Toro, my kind of low tech, or well, not low tech, cybered up kind of street level Minotaur. And I love those characters to death, but I definitely play Hollywood way more on camera. And I get to do that twice on Six Sides of Gaming are doing both of those streams, and like I said, those are Thursday night and Saturday night, 7 to 9 Eastern Standard Time. So if you happen to have access to their Twitch streams, actually, I don't think they're in Twitch anymore. I think they're on YouTube Live. You should hop onto Six Sides YouTube and come see me be a gunslinging elven Lothario. Apart from that, it's been just a solid good week. You know, again, pre is all. Oh, I was trying to open my my drink. I had one finger on top of the lid, so it wasn't opening. I was like, "Why is this so hard and stuck in place?" And it was stuck in place because I'm an idiot. But yeah, it's these last couple weeks right leading up to Gen Con. They're super busy, but it's cool to tick things off the box, or like tick boxes on the list. Okay, I need to get this for advertisement for the booth. This cool thing that we're gonna have at the booth for Intergalactic Heroes. Oh, did I say that? It's I need to have that ready to get to the printer to have the poster thing printed to have at the booth. You know, so like there's a lot of go, but as soon as you get past that point and the box gets ticked, you're like, all right, cool. You know, we're good. All is well. And that's where I'm at, is starting to, check boxes off, handed the Gen Con special event over to the playtester folks and the editor, make sure everything is worded right. So that's done. Knowing that the our kind of evil genius den mother, Haley, who takes care of all of us on the business side of things, knowing that she has all of the assets she needs to print all of our maps, to make sure all the pre-gens are ready. It's a lot of little things, but knowing when they are done, like once they get done, those last couple of days, like right before Gen Con, other than a few emergency things that have to happen, like, oh God, right now, it's kind of cool to just get. Just yesterday, I got my new travel suitcase for to be able to. So, long story short, my old suitcase that I used to take to like every convention, it was my travel carry-on. The little extendable handle thing stopped going all the way into the suitcase, which means I can't fly with it. I can't. It is problematic at best. So I got a replacement for one of those. So that came in a couple days ago. So yeah, super minor thing, new suitcase, but it's like, ooh, new suitcase. All right. Does anybody want to know anything? I'm sitting here running my mouth about all these things, and I wanted today. Which funny story about today. The reason why we're doing a chit chat live today is I completely forgot to record the episode for this week. I got so caught up in pre-Gen Con, in getting things squared away, the contractors and the dogs, and I got so caught up in weirdness that I thought this week was the week that I wasn't going to be able to get a video in because of Gen Con, and I totally lost track of time. And then, like, literally as I'm like going to bed last night, I go, I never recorded today. So that's why we're going to live today. And I feel bad that I didn't have something pre-recorded, but I like doing these lives now and again because I get to, interact with you guys directly, and that's awesome. Oh, Blue Stripe says, you mentioned being back at the gym. Awesome work. Thank you. How's it going? How'd it feel? It feels good. I mean, I've been the little app thing that the gym this particular gym is called Vasa Fitness. I like Vasa a lot, but you use your little app to like check in on the way into the door and whatever, and it keeps track of how many times you've been there. I just got my 1 year anniversary. The little thing that was like, hey, you've been going here for a year. Good job. Which was pretty cool. I was like, wow, I've been going to the gym for a year. I feel good. I feel healthier than I have been. My back, the spot in my back that notoriously makes me look like I am 90 years old every morning has definitely calmed down quite a bit. I feel like my endurance is definitely up. I'm feeling good. Now, that being said, I went back to actually lift. I've been doing most of just cardio sauna, and then occasionally cardio sauna. Occasionally, I would do like a massage table day if I was in bad shape, or maybe try one of like the rowing machines or something like that. And I had been putting it off because I had really wrenched my back, and I was like, I do not want to lift weights. I don't want to do arms and shoulders and back and stuff, and then risk screwing up that spot again. So I've been very, very cautious. This last Wednesday, I was like, you know what? It's been good for a couple of weeks. I haven't been hurting. Let's do it. And I did it, and it didn't hurt. I'm still not hurting, which is great. But I can absolutely tell that I have not lifted in a hot minute, because my all throughout my biceps, like all throughout here, like the actual like the tendon that extending sucks. It's because it's all knitting right through here, so it is not it sucks. But this is the cost of trying to get healthier and trying to actually make some progress instead of just staying even keel, which honestly at this point staying even keel would also be good. I've already lost like 30 pounds from when I started this whole thing, but I would love for that to increase and can continue to drop. But knowing that I'm not sliding, I do these conventions. I did Origins, and I try to watch roughly what I'm eating, but it's so hard between meetings with people and I only have time to hit the concession stand. Well, what do they have? Guess what? They don't have anything good for you. But it's something that I need to try and pay attention to. And I don't know. It's nice to know that I haven't slid so far back that I'm falling apart. That's nice. Science says, congratulations. I'm up to nearly 2 years at your gym. Congratulations to you. And that's always the hard part. Yeah. It's, I don't mind the feeling of going to the gym anymore. Like it is now like just kind of part of my routine. I know that those 3 days a week I am going to go. Which is so weird because, a year and a half ago, when someone would be like, hey, you should come to the gym with me. You want a gym membership? And I would look at them and be like, you're crazy. That's so silly. I don't have time. And now I make time. I still don't have time, but I make the time to happen. And I will say this, that I think that it helped a great deal getting my CPAP machine a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago or whatever. Sleeping, even though I still only sleep like 6 hours a night, it is so much better sleep than it was before, that now when I wake up early to go to the gym, I don't sit there and drag ass for the next 45 minutes. I get up, I get moving, I take care of the dogs, and I go do my thing. So yeah, there you go. So did anybody have anything they wanted to talk about? Weird. I just wanted to chit chat. We were talking about the gym. We were talking about health. You know what? I actually do have a couple of things to talk about. And if something comes up in the chat, we'll change gears. But first and foremost, my political leanings. I know I try to stay off of religion and politics on the show, and I am. My political leanings, obviously, people know I'm pretty liberal. I'm not like so deep. I think that the government should fall or anything like that. But I'm obviously pretty lefty, and this last week we had an unprecedented potential event take place. And while I do not like the man, I do not like Donald Trump at all. I think he's a terrible, terrible thing for this country, for the world, in fact. I don't wish anybody really to have to be subject to that. I know there's a lot of talk about it, could be staged and all that stuff, but I'm not gonna weigh in. But if it is real, if it really is a thing that happened, my heart goes out to the people that were hurt. And no matter how much I disagree with how someone is handling things, I never want to feel like I'm cheering on someone's demise, and I don't think anyone should. I think that it's bad form to an nth degree. So, and that goes for everybody. I think that the level of discourse in my country has devolved so far, and it's everybody's fault. All right, so enough of that. So that was one thing I wanted to cover. The other thing I wanted to cover is so I've been a little more active on the TikTok lately, mostly because I wanted to tell everybody that the Essence 20 field guide won an Emmy. I mean, it was a judge's spotlight Emmy, so it's not. I don't want to downplay the fact that it won, because I've got a mustache hair that is just killing me. It's just every time I talk, it's going boing, 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 it's poking me in the bottom of the nostrils, making me sneeze. I don't want to downplay the fact that it's a judge's spotlight award, because what that does mean is that means that there was a judge that out of the 900 products or whatever that goes into the Emmys, there was a judge that said that should have won something, and he chose that as his thing. So it's still an award, it's still a win, it's still an Emmy, and it makes me happy. Obviously, it's I can now say I'm an Emmy award-winning writer, which that's so silly. I hubris should come get me. But it was really good news. It was cool to have that moment, so that was really that was a fun bit of news. But so I went to TikTok to kind of spread the word and be like, hey, how cool is this? And I got sucked back into TikTok, and I got sucked into discourse about different science fiction media, and the horror movie media, and just really I've come to a realization that it is very difficult these days not to find someone who can say, I don't like this, but I don't mind that you do. And I'm really, really hoping, I'm really, really trying to adopt that mentality, because it's hard for me too. I live right now in a sea of clips about the Acolyte and more Deadpool commercials and shills than I can care to count. And it's very difficult for me not to see people going, I love this, and and wanting to jump in, teeth bared, and be like, are you crazy? And then I realized that them liking it doesn't, unless they're actively telling me you're dumb for not liking it, doesn't affect me. And I wish more people did that. I wish more people could come to that realization of, you liking or not liking something does not affect me liking or not liking something. And so much of my feed is, oh my god, I hate you. Let's talk about the leaked art images. I guess the previewed art images for the new Player's Handbook. Do I like the weird pastel cartoony sort of after school special art style that they've used on several of the things that could have been like, iconic beasts? Definitely not. But that doesn't change the material. And the people who like it, it doesn't change. I'm not going to look at somebody because, do I like the new, kinder, softer, gentler orcs that they're pushing? No, most assuredly not. But I'm not going to look at somebody who says, hey, they love those orcs, they think it's cool. I'm not going to look at them and go, man, you're an idiot for liking that. It's totally different opinions. And people need to be able to have opinions. Because if you don't let other people have opinions, then all you live is in an echo chamber, and there will never be any progression. You're just going to live in bubbles. But you also need to be able to voice those opinions without someone looking at you and go, you're the enemy. You hate Deadpool, you're the enemy. You hate the new softer orcs, you're the enemy. Just today, I was on a Facebook post about Gen Con's new DEI committee that they're meeting at Gen Con, which, awesome. The concept of the diversity and equity and inclusion in gaming is fine. We want all gamers to be there. We want gamers to game. We want gamers to have a good time. We want I want everybody to be able to enjoy themselves at Gen Con, at the gaming tables, at the game stores. That's the whole point of us doing this. And immediately people started jumping on there and yelling and screaming and whatever. And then there was someone who, while I bet that if we sat down in a room and discussed our politics, we would probably agree on a lot of things. But one of the first things that they said was, there's too many old white guys in gaming. We need to replace them with more diverse voices. And I read that, and I read it 2 or 3 times. And I think that it's what struck me and what put me in this mindset is the whole DEI initiative is for inclusivity, is to create a better place for all gamers. And this person, in an attempt to basically be like, yeah, we need more diverse voices. Totally agree. I want that stuff to be available for everybody. I want more places, more seats at the table. Absolutely. But they used the term replace. And that, I think, is the problem. Is some people are like, you need to get up out of your chair. Rather than saying bring more chairs to the table, it's you need to get out of your chair. Because I don't like what you have to say, and I don't like that you're not these people. So you need to get out of your chair. And that's not the key. The key is not to remove people from their chairs, unless they're legitimately jerks and deserve to be removed from the table no matter who they are. But it's to scoot the hell over and make room for more chairs. That's what it should be about. And it ruffled my feathers. I mean, call me an aristocrat if you'd like. It ruffled my feathers this morning, seeing that someone who I agree with on a political, like a poli-sci sort of notion for most things, make that statement of, me, as in Brian, who I consider myself a pretty positive person and pretty welcoming at any table that I'm at. I love, it's, but I should be removed because I'm not one of these other voices. And I think that's the problem. I think that's the problem with not even this topic in general. Is it's no longer about scoot over and make room. It is now get out. There's someone for that spot. All right. Oh, Blue Stripe's been talking, and I've been talking. I've been talking so much. I need to take another drink of my Dubby energy drink. Which, by the way, no joke. I know I'm going to sound like a corporate shill here for a second. I know they're a sponsor. I know that I have the link up in my videos, but they actually legitimately are good. Like it's actually, I drink a lot of energy drink mixes. I have two of them right now that I use. One is a pre-workout that is not Dubby because it is specifically designed to like jumpstart workout stuff, and they don't make something like that. And then I have my one that's just for like the occasional caffeine boost during the day. These guys are rad, and you should totally check them out, and you should use my link because I want them to keep sending me stuff. All right, Blue Stripe. Oh my God, my arm. Blue Stripe says, oh, there was something hilarious like that in a public forum just yesterday. Someone popped up to speciality tirade on how awful a particular season of a show was, and they were all guns blazing and aggressively tackled anyone with a different view. Opinions are like, I don't know. If you decide to air yours out in public, then you should be prepared for other people to scrutinize them and perhaps not like them. DEI should be okay. We're well represented now. How can we encourage, uplift, and involve folks who aren't just like us? How can we make this space accessible to everyone unilaterally? Yes, that's what I'm saying. It should be about bringing more chairs to the table, making room for the chairs, making a bigger, better table. That's what it should be about. And as for how awful a particular season of a show was, I will admit I am often very vocal about liking and disliking things. And some shows hit me on they hit dangling nerves that make me more crazy than others. But I have to really, I'm really trying to get better about not laying into people about having different opinions. Unless that, of course, that opinion is harmful, like, I think everybody should drink bleach, yeah, like that's a different story. I think it should be fun to beat your kids, like, please don't clip that. I think that that's a universal, that's not an opinion, that's a bad take. And I think even some bad takes can at least be discussed, not necessarily, set a flame with a flamethrower. But the problem is just it's so fast and easy to bring it, get it away from all this politics and all stuff, to bring it back to gaming. TTRPG TikTok is a volatile place. Because someone will post an opinion and then someone will grab that opinion and share that opinion and stitch that opinion and talk about how that person was wrong or this person's wrong. And unfortunately, I have a lot of friends, acquaintances, people I follow on TikTok that I really do not share their views on gaming. I really, really don't. And I used to be very heavy with the get ready to, make that comment button. And I'm trying now to just let it go, especially because now, since the algorithms feed off of that kind of contention, I don't want to feed it. I don't want to feed the beast. So a lot of times I just, that's their opinion, unless they're calling me out by name or specifically it's like a friend of mine is being dragged through the mud or something along those lines. I will often try and keep my voice to myself. I know, fight the battles that need to be fought, and recognize when someone is just picking a battle because they want that engagement. They want to start the argument. And I'm too old for that. I've got too much going on in my regular everyday life to get stressed out about things that I legitimately have no control and do not actually affect me. Scion says, it's TikTok. Of course it's volatile. And yes, algorithms are the worst for maintaining your sanity. Absolutely. Absolutely. It makes me so nuts that, like, I hate, so I used to use Facebook. I mean, I use Facebook constantly, obviously. But I used to use it to keep track of a lot of my friends. And so often now there are so many ads and so many groups that the algorithm thinks I should be a part of, that half my feed I've got to scroll through 5 things on my window to get to someone that I actually give a shit about. And it's messed up. And all it takes is one interaction with a weird video that you might not have been expecting, and suddenly my TikTok is filled with this random, this topic. So I try not to interact as much as I used to, but I do still see a use for social media as long as everybody's playing nice. If that makes any sense. Yeah. So, don't get me started on Facebook. I've used my block tool more since the algorithm started making suggestions than I ever have. Absolutely. There are so many. I wish there was a setting on Facebook, and I know there's not. I've tried. I wish there was a setting that I could say hide everyone who I'm not friended with, including ads, including corporate pages. If I have not friended or followed, don't want it on my feed. And that's sadly not going to ever be an option, because that's how Facebook makes its money, is off of advertising and off of streaming those ads. So it's the hazards of, I mean, and at the end of the day, it's a free service that I'm using to my benefit. So I can't be like, oh God, Facebook's the worst, because I'm the one that's there. I'm the one that went to that free website and jumped in. And it's for most time, it's quite often very helpful. I use it to advertise stuff that we do for Intergalactic Heroes. Obviously the Warzone group is very popular. Yeah. So I don't know why we got on this this rando rant. But I see there's some more people joining the chat. Hello, everybody. This is just a chit chat today. I'm hoping that people will have stuff to talk about to get the ball rolling, asking questions, seeing if anyone wants anything. Blue Stripe says, Meta is literally the worst for suggesting content that you've specifically blocked. The amount to motorbike car footage of people being idiots having accidents. Yet they still keep up. So that's on your feed. You get motorbike car footage accidents. Not to highlight weirdism about my algorithm. I have a lot of cosplayers. I put that in italics that pop up in my "you should check this out" feed constantly. That, and I get a lot of animal videos, a lot of check out these shorts of you join one German Shepherd group, and now half of my videos are German Shepherds doing weird things. So yes, it's weird and strange. Let's see. Nobody's got anything else in the chat, so let me talk about the cool thing that is happening pretty much as we speak. So last night, or yesterday, Alex, my partner over at Resnova for Warzone, posted up a Kickstarter update, letting everybody know just how far along everything is. And it is something else. Now, I feel for my partner. I feel for Alex like nobody's business, because he's doing a lot of this stuff out of his house, which means there are boxes and stacks and containers full of t-shirts and minis upon minis upon minis slowly being stockpiled so we can get up there and pack the boxes and ship them out when everything's here. So he has got a lot of moving parts up at his house up in Michigan. but just knowing how much stuff is already done, and now it's just a matter of we wait for the minis to show up, we wait for the book to come back from print. Um, and then it's a pack boxes and get it sent out. One of the things we are waiting for is the acrylic tokens. There has been some complications with the company we contracted to do them, and they're working on it. And we hope that they are working on it fast enough that we will still be able to ship in September. Oh, we have a thing. Science says, okay, speaking of intergalactic heroes, will we see what kind of antagonist and adversaries are in the RPG? So the initial book that's going to come out, the first release for is the Intergalactic Heroes Player's Guide. And the Player's Guide does have, I think, 40, just between 30 and 40 NPCs that can, and that includes things like creatures and aliens and a couple of like very generic, this is a space marine. That way, when people get the player's guide, they will immediately have a decent host of stuff that they can build adventures on, they can use at their table. And then shortly, within a few months, probably, the Game Master's Guide will have a ton more. The Game Master's Guide. So originally, when we were planning things, we were talking about putting together a player's guide, a Game Master's Guide, and like a creature book, not a monster manual because it's not monsters, and not a bestiary because they're not all beasts. But something like an encyclopedia of intergalactic life, intergalactic encyclopedia or something. And then as we started planning stuff out, we realized that asking players to 3 initial big fat books is a lot. It's a lot to put, especially when we still want to do Everyday Arcana, when we still have other stuff for Ego, when we have a lot of other irons on the fire. So we're like, you know what? Let's do 2 books. Let's do a Player's Guide and a Game Master's Guide. I wanted to make sure that there was enough stuff in the Player's Guide that when that book comes out, people will be able to, even people who don't have everyday heroes as like a basis to go off of, that they will still be able to just hit the ground running and start playing the game. So there's quite a few. There's a handful of alien animals, a couple of beasts of burden, a lot of generic. This is a sci-fi guy. Here's a merchant. Here's a street thug. Here's the cantina bully. Like a lot of character or NPCs that will be useful across the board. And then there's a handful of very specific ones that are specific to our in-game setting. So the Throne World Saga, there is some alien races that have some representation there. There is there's the 3. So they're in the story. I don't. One of these days, I will do an entire episode specifically on the Throne World Saga when we get closer to that book becoming a thing, closer to the Player's Guide happening. But there are 3 primary political factions, the 3 dynastic fleets that are all vying for the throne world. And the 3 fleets have, obviously, the dynasties have different feel and different flair. And so there are several NPCs that might be, here's what a crew officer looks like for these guys. Here's what a crew officer, the same main stats, but here's how to change it to use for these guys. So there's going to be a lot of options. There's going to be a lot of options in there. And then, of course, there's, faction membership feats for if you want to be a part of those factions. Let's say that your game, everybody wants to play the semi-religious, or not, they're not semi, they're very religious. This kind of the star worshipping dynasty that's very almost kind of Egyptian crusade. If I can leave it at that. It's weird. I know it's a weird mix. But like, if let's say somebody wants to play that style of game, there's membership feats that allow people to be part of that faction and have play some kind of benefit. But yeah, so I think of all the NPCs that are in the player's guide, I think my favorite one right now is the Solvasti Hunter. The Solvasti are a widespread alien race that, as of the player's guide, do not have character options. So they're not a character origin in the player's guide, but perhaps later on. But the Solvasti are they are survivors. They basically are a highly adaptive race. Over several generations, or over a few generations, they can normally adapt to their environment really, really well. So like they've spread across the galaxy, potentially multiple galaxies, very easily, because when they go to a planet that might not be all that hospitable to the first generation, as long as they can survive and get through it and make some betas, the next generation will be better at it. The third generation will probably be accustomed to the area, and the fourth generations and beyond will actually thrive and maybe have some physical modifications that allow them to be even more attuned to that area. That is basically an extremely flexible genetic structure that allow them to adapt to their environments very, very well. And one of the NPCs is a Solvasti bounty hunter. Self-bioformed species. It's not really science for them. It's just biology. They have shorter lifespans. I mean, obviously, it's not. They're not like dead in a couple of years. But they, instead of having the average of like the 75 to 80-year lifespan that a regular human does, although in the future it's probably closer to 90 or to 100 because of medical science, a Solvasti might have a generational gap that they become old age at like 60, and maybe by like 65 they start seeing kind of where the end is coming. They mature much faster biologically, and that allows them to adapt very, very fast wherever they go. And that's so they have benefits to survival, obviously. And they basically get they are extremely predatory, not like predatory in the way that like creepy predatory. They are carnivorous, and the space, obviously technology allows them to do like, here's your nutrient rich paste. But they're very naturally good at finding and hunting. They're natural hunters, and it lends them very well to becoming legal enforcement agents or bounty hunters or bail bondsmen. They're naturally attuned to tracking and the little things that might be out of place in a room. And so they're going to make for a very cool NPC, especially if you make like a higher level Solvasti bounty hunter and send them after your characters. Being tracked by this team of Solvastis would be pretty cool. I would be very happy to see that run as an ongoing antagonist. And then down the road, maybe in the Game Master's Guide, maybe in a supplement later, we'll have character origin rules on how to run one. So I know that they are one of my favorite of the. As you can tell, I've been going on about for almost 10 minutes. I look forward to some of the other species as well. And I also look forward to the possibility of us. Obviously, this is not something that is set in stone, but there are sci-fi licenses out there that our goal with Intergalactic Heroes is to create a cool rule set, a very centered rule set, like what we did with Everyday Heroes for Modern, is Intergalactic Heroes should be a cool core set for a solid sci-fi backbone. And then, should we have the ability and the access to add an official licensed Hollywood license, a cinematic source book that ties to Intergalactic Heroes, that maybe that source book will have a couple of new origins, it'll have some new classes, it'll have things that allow you to add to Intergalactic Heroes in order to play in that particular world. And depending on the license, the sky's the limit. And beyond. I think that there's so much that can be done that obviously I would love people to be able to just grab the core book and then go, I'm going to play Star Wars. Obviously they can. They might need to do a little squinting and do a little home brewing to make some of those individual species that exist out there. But we've got blasters. We've got plasma arc weapons that could basically be a lightsaber. There's obviously rules for starships and shields, and the rules for the couple of classes that use the tide, which is our energy of fate and destiny. You could totally replace most of those things and call them force powers. That's the stuff. And let's go the opposite direction. Let's say someone wants to do a sci-fi game that is more grounded. For instance, at GameholeCon, I will be running my special event, Heck Divers 2, TOO, which is obviously a Helldivers 2 reference, where the players will be playing drop marines, and those drop marines will be put into a nasty situation with which they were trying to bring super justice and super freedom to the downtrodden folks of Tyranny Prime or whatever. And that particular adventure / setting that I'm creating obviously doesn't have a lot to do with the tide. It isn't really going to have any of the, I'm not going to have any of the supernaturally type stuff because that particular thing is mostly about grunts with guns and armor taking on bad guys, and me putting them into a bad situation for a few hours to try and make them think beyond their trigger fingers long enough to get there, to get to the positive ending of the adventure. Hopefully the future cinematic licenses go better than Rebel Moon. Sorry, not sorry. Rebel Moon is what brought me to Evil Genius, so I can't fault the instance of trying it. Working with Zack Snyder was awesome. It was a dream. I absolutely loved the time that I got to spend in a digital room with him, and the discussions that we had. And I hope the couple of things that the couple of bugs that I planted in his ear about things, I hope it sees the light of day in some capacity. It would be nice, to be able to say if something pops up in one of his movies and I go, holy crap, I'm the one that told him about that. Yeah. Does anyone need to believe me? Of course not. But I know, I will know, and I will feel that way. And not to mention, it was cool to work with one of my idols. Cinematically, Zack Snyder is one of my cinematic like movie idols. And I got to work with him. And so whether or not things ended the way that I would have liked it with Rebel Moon, it was an awesome experience, and I will never forget that. But to say that I would like our new licenses to go a little smoother, I think that would be great. And I know we were eyeballing a few. This year is definitely about getting our foundation books up off the ground. 2025 is probably going to be a lot of check out this awesome stuff that's happening. But we are still talking. We're still talking to several licenses, several production companies, and kind of planting the seeds for future stuff. And of the two sci-fi ones that I know that we are talking about, both of them, if I land either of them, I will be ecstatic. Um, if we land both of them, I'll be. I know for a fact that Intergalactic Heroes is going to do just fine. Um, but either way, I'm excited just to be part of that process. Which honestly, I'm part of. So when I took over, when I became the producer of sci-fi stuff at Evil Genius, and my first major project was all the Legendary books, the Pac-Rim and Kong books. I got to start interacting with the Legendary movie production company, and talking to them, and working with them to make sure our art and our story and everything works within canon, and that we're not making wrinkles for future projects for them. And it's really, really cool to be part of that. And I love it. It is not, the management side of things is not my favorite part of my job. Obviously the creation of games and getting to create these stories and rules design is my favorite part of these things. But it is a lot of fun to be part of that, that process as well. Legally distinct Helldivers sounds awesome. Yeah, basically, so Helldivers is quite obviously a take on the movie version of Starship Troopers, which is I love that movie. I worked with the Starship Troopers license for years back when I was at Mongoose in the early 2000s. I worked with Andy Chambers to develop the. After he designed, I worked with the team later to help build the Starship Troopers miniatures game, where we went from there. The Starship Troopers role playing game at that time. So I've already worked with that license, and when Helldivers 2 became so popular, so I don't video game on my computer. It's my computer's for work, and I have a hard time separating church from state when it comes to that kind of thing. But just seeing people have so much fun in what's obviously, drop troops, kill bugs. Do you want to know more? And seeing that, it brought me back to when I got to work with that license. And so when Alex, the showrunner over at GameholeCon, let me know that I was going to be a special guest again this year, and that I was going to need to cook up some special events for people to come play. I immediately was like, well, Intergalactic Heroes will be written and well into playtest by then, well into like art production and things, I would assume. So if I've got the rules and I've got the classes and I've got all the stats and stuff that I need, and what I don't need I can make up, I'm going to do a Helldivers 2. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to do a Helldivers 2 style adventure at GameholeCon. And it sounds like I might, if it goes well, I might do it maybe at GaryCon the following year. But we'll see. That's still up in the air. I know that I'm doing it for Gamehole because it's a special event. I might, maybe, who knows? Maybe I'll find a way to bring it to other adventures or other conventions as well. But I am extremely happy with the concept of basically that I want to bring the meat grinder aspect. I am hey Bocock, how you doing? You got in just in time. I'm almost done with my live. So if you have anything that you need to ask, get it on there now. But my hope is to be able to hand each of the players at the Helldivers 2 basically 2 character sheets, one for their initial character and then one for like the guy who's waiting just off screen in case the first one gets munched. You saw that. You saw what? What did you see? He says you saw. Oh, you saw that you just snuck in. Yeah. So it's almost done. But yeah, if you have a question, now is the time before I start doing my sign off. And I hope this was fun. I like doing lives. I know that it's not nearly as focused as when I have an actual topic or an unboxing or something like that. And then next week we're going to talk about Gen Con. kind of the pre-Gen Con stuff. No questions, really. I'll be seeing you at Gen Con. Yeah, I will be at the Evil Genius booth every morning, and probably into the afternoon. I've got 2 Shadowrun live streams Thursday night and Saturday night, and then the Ennies is Friday night. I think that's pretty much my schedule. But yes, you should totally, if you get a chance to swing by the Evil Genius booth in the morning, please come see me. Can you tell us when the IGH playtest will start? I will very shortly tell you that. I can't tell you right now because I'm still working on some of the deets. But got any of those gold Sharpies left? You mean like this one? Yes, I do. Thank you to our dear friends overseas who sent me gold Sharpies to do my autographs and stuff, which, by the by, I haven't talked to Michael, the guy who sent this. I haven't talked to Michael in a while. So if you have a chance, if you get a chance to see him, tell him I miss him. I always liked chit-chatting with him online, and I know he's been very busy with his streams, and I look forward to hopefully sending him something very, very cool for him to maybe do on stream. So I please let him know that I've been thinking about him and that I hope to well, you know how I hope to feed him some Intergalactic Heroes stuff shortly, because I would love for him to put together a group for his channel. There you go. I said it. I put it out in the world. But yes, I don't know what I was where else I was going before the gold Sharpie thing. Can the IGH playtest will start. So basically I'm doing some last minute sort of pre-playtest doc informational. And then very, very soon you guys will hear, you collectively, I'm sure I'll be shouting it from the rooftops on how to get in on starting to see a much larger part of what we're creating and become part of the process. So Bo Cook says, I'm running 10 games this year. I'll be trying to get all my schmoozing in the first 3 hours and 30 minutes the hall is open. Well, that's when I'm going to be at the booth. So please come by and see me. I would love to say hi and wish you well. All right, folks, I got to go. I got the rest of my day to do work stuff now that we're past this. So you know how this goes. Please be safe. There's a lot of craziness out there. Be safe, be positive. Just wash your hands, get your shots, wear a mask if you have to. Try and leave every room a little happier than when you got there. And I think everything's going to be okay. Until next week, where we're going to talk about all the pre-Gen Con awesomeness. It's been a good live. Go out there, have fun, play some games. We'll see you next week.